Hi. Thanks for coming out, second annual. Good to see you. Hi. Quick question before we get Kent and Todd up here so we can all talk over each other for the next few minutes. Who here you're just wine appreciators? Hands up if you're a grower, grape grower, growers. One grower. Producers, sommeliers, somms, one somm. Okay, so a bunch of drunks, basically. We're all drunks. Copy. So we'll keep it simple. We're not going to go into silly technical jargon that's going to make you go to sleep in the sun, because that would be bad. Todd Bostock, Ken Callaghan, come on up and join me. We're gonna gang up on these people. All right. So for those of you who are not familiar with Arizona wine, hands up. If you had Arizona wine, we're all Arizona wine affiliated. Great. Okay, so a few. Shut up, Aaron. A few words about the Verde Valley. A lot of volcanic soils here, high elevation. If you've had any kind of Argentinian wines, similar elevations to those that area, you can jump in anytime. We only have two mics because Kent says funny things under his breath, and you can't hear him while I'm talking about stuff you don't want to hear about. Did I miss it? Okay. So.
It's like US. Did I miss it? What happened?
Coming a long way in the Verde Valley. A lot more vineyards have been planted recently. I have a 30-acre site out by Elefante. Of course, the Dos Padres site across from Hay Springs. The Dancing Apache site. Lots of venues coming online in the Verde Valley, and seeing a lot of interesting results compared to some of the Wilcox sites, some of the Sonoyta sites. A lot of difference. So over time, we're going to see a clearer picture of what the Verde Valley has to offer as far as differences. Part of that process, you may have heard of the Arizona Vineyard Owners Alliance. Part of the process of that organization is information gathering. Knowledge is power. So the more we figure out what our successes and failures are, some of those patterns will start emerging over the next 10, 15 years with this information gathering to figure out what grapes do best at what elevations, what soils, what clones, what rootstocks. That's kind of the purpose of the information gathering with that organization. So some of the things we're seeing already, as of course, as you've probably tasted some of the wines, Italian varietals, Southern Rhone, Spanish varietals doing very well in the state. Jump in.
All right. Brandon. So what? You bet. What's in your glass right now? Y'all have wine in your glass, yeah? Hopefully.
Yes.
Not empty. Nice work.
Diddler.
Pervert.
I'll talk about.
You doing it wrong?
I'll talk about Wilcox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you're familiar or not, but there's basically three wine growing regions in the state at this point. Verde Valley, which we're in right now, and then Wilcox and Sonoyta. Wilcox, Sulphur Springs Valley, a new AVA, American viticulture area, sandy soils, lots of calcium, relatively mild climate compared to the other climates, and probably where most of the grapes in Arizona come from at this point. But when folks brought grapes to the U.S., nobody was thinking about Arizona. So that's been our job, is to think about Arizona. And so the things that work well there are things that we likely do better than anybody else in the country, which is kind of exciting. So initially, you saw a lot of plantings of things like Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Sauvignon Blanc, things that aren't necessarily suited to those spots. And now you're seeing things like Alianico, which buds late, ripens late, good acidity, well suited to the area. So you're not necessarily familiar with, but the names don't matter if you love them. So, Bronets from Macedonia, which we're digging into and like a lot, things like that. And ultimately, the point is that the stuff should taste good. Are you all sleeping okay? I'm not disturbing you, am I?
Yeah, Callaghan. Taking the mic away from you, Tom.
Yeah, so we grow in Sonoyta primarily, and we buy fruit from these guys in Wilcox, so it's a nice juxtaposition. Sonoyta tends to be a little bit more, it's a little more difficult growing environment, so the wines, I think, tend to have a little bit more of an edge, and that can be a good or a bad thing depending on who you are, but they're certainly interesting in that personality. But getting back to what Todd said, we've been trying to figure out what grape varieties work well in Arizona for literally ever since we started, so almost 30 years ago. So it's a constant trial, evaluation, which just basically means that we drink a lot and as much as we can and as widely as we can. So it's a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys are doing the same. A lot of really good wine in Arizona, so we would all encourage you to do as much research as possible and as often as possible.
So the wonderful thing about all the different personalities in this industry is everyone's approaching their growing and their processing in different ways. So part of this information gathering process of the Alliance is going to start kind of pinpointing what those results are with those different approaches. And that, just the three of us standing here, we all grow and produce in a very different way, and we're still seeing consistency and some kind of recognizability in some of the varietals. So when we all do Sangiovese separately in separate regions, we're seeing similarities in that grape, but we're also seeing our hand as winemakers and growers on those grapes. And as you know, to even bother talking about a wine, it should probably speak of a region, otherwise it's just a beverage. It doesn't really mean anything. So kind of getting out of the way and letting those places express themselves is extremely important. And it's exciting because we all like to get together, probably today sometime or tomorrow sometime we're going to go dig in, as Kent calls it, wine research. Hopefully we'll remember what we discovered, but that's kind of part of the process.
That's when it just pops back in your head years later.
Like a concussion.
Real quick, how many of y'all are from Arizona? A lot, right? And so it's what's super exciting for me as a kid that was born here is there's few opportunities to see what a place tastes like to be part of watching that develop. And nobody expects Arizona, right? But I think there's a point here. There's really a point. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Stick with me. Yeah, to be a part of seeing a place grow up and what it tastes like, I think is unique. If you could imagine being in Bordeaux when they were figuring out what they were going to grow and what that joint was going to taste like, there's a finite amount of opportunities to see that, and so to see it happen in this state, which I think you'll see with the Michigan has a bigger wine industry than Arizona. There's more money going into Michigan wine, but they haven't seen the success that we've had. So the place we're in Arizona is special, and so the opportunity to be a part of that and see what this place tastes like and watch it develop, I think, is unique. And as both a consumer, because I am an avid consumer, and producer, I think that's exciting as an Arizonan. So I thank you for supporting this and spending your money on it, because if you guys didn't spend money on it, we couldn't do it. And yeah. So we got to the point, right, though?
Yeah.
There's no clapping. I haven't heard any clapping.
So hands up. Who's anyone here from Nevada? Travel from Nevada? Nevada people. New Mexico? New Mexico, awesome. Ohio, anyone? God bless you. What's that? Okay. But where you live now? Okay. Ohio and Michigan people moved to Scottsdale, is fact. Kind of like Jersey to Florida. Similar. So who's the farthest away? Who could raise your hand? So where are you from? Where are you here from? New York? Washington State? Okay. All right. You guys can wrestle it out, figure it out. Who wins?
Is there a prize?
There's a prize, I think. There's a trip to the hospital for somebody. So please do your best to pace yourself please pace yourself, look out for each other, but go around to all of the wine booths, give each one of these producers your focus, your time. They work really hard. Their lives are wrapped up into this thing. They're in debt up to their eyeballs, and they're trying to make their way in the wine region. So please take your time at each one of the booths. Talk to the producers, figure out what they're doing. Before we get to that, though, I'm going to take 2 questions. So if somebody has a really good question that I'm still sober enough to answer. Anyone? Questions? Sir.
Here.
Right there.
So last night I had the chance to talk to Todd a little bit about where you are today as winemakers and that evolution. So where do you see this going? What's your end goal?
Sustainability. I mean, that's the biggest goal of what we're doing. If we are successful in the next 15 years of what we're trying to establish in the state, we've created an economy that will support 20 times more families as it does right now for the next 100 years or beyond, if we can truly get out of the way and express the place and express it accurately enough for people who are snobs and storytellers outside of this region to convince them, and then they tell the story, and then it spreads like wildfire. So that's our goal. I guess the word sustainability is the goal.
Thank you.
Another question? Sir, walk over to that mic. Did you guys hear that question, what he asked? Did you hear? Okay. 'Cause I can barely hear it. Rock band.
All right, if you were brand new at this and wanted to get in, what would be your suggestions?
I would suggest that you save your money, put it towards some courses in accounting with an eye to the future. Just kidding.
That's not.
No, go to apply over at Yavapai College. They've got a viticulture and enology program there. Just get your feet wet. I think sometimes you make the mistake of diving in before you're ready. So just get your feet wet with a couple courses at Yavapai College to really just understand what it is you're getting into. As one of my vineyard workers said, everyone wants to work in a vineyard till they're actually working in the vineyard. You know, don't sell your house. Go. Selling your house is after you get into the wine industry and you're broke, you got to sell your house to maintain it. Thank you. Mitch has a question.
His face. He's like, I'm not kidding.
And scene. Thank you very much for coming down. Make sure you come up to ask us any questions you guys have. Please ask the winemakers. Dig into their head. A lot's going on in there. We're all crazy as heck. That's turtles. Thank you.